Hey everybody, DM Jim here, and welcome to a new episode of the Tabletop Engineer. I get occasionally images or photos sent to me from subscribers to the channel showing me interesting bits of terrain that they found on other channels or Facebook or what have you. And occasionally I get sent images with a challenge. Hey, do you think you could build this? And a lot of times what is sent to me is something that's very interesting to me, but interesting in the sense of it's a cool image, but not much interest in me to make it. But every now and then somebody sends me an image and says, hey, what do you think of this? Do you think you could make this? Or how easy would it be to make this? And sometimes it grabs my attention in such a way that I'm like, yeah, I would really like to have that on my tabletop. So I'm going to pop up a picture right here. Take a good look. I don't know where this image originated. I don't know. It's digital. It's not crafted. Maybe for a video game, I'm guessing, or something like that. But it has an interesting look. It's also got this arch, sort of an arched tunnel that the stairs lead into. So what I did was I printed it out here. I'm going to try to make it. I have no idea. I'm making this video before I've done any cutting, any kind of design work. This is all I have. And so I'm gonna video myself making this, or at least trying to make this. And hopefully by the end of it, I'll have, something that looks close to that. So let's get to the table, and I'm gonna try to make this. Let's see what happens.
I started by basically laying out a 1-inch grid on a piece of chipboard. I did this so that I could define the footprint of the structure. I figured starting with the basic outline of it would be a good place to start, so you can see me just drawing it out here and hand sketching curves. After cutting out the base shape, I went to my Proxxon and I cut out a series of 1-inch thick pieces of foam at various widths. As you can see, I'm labeling it 4x8, 1x8, and here I'm cutting those widths. This was because it's very hard to cut 1-inch foam with a knife. So by cutting it like this, I could glue it down in patches and create the 1-inch thick base. Next, I took chipboard and I created what I call the walls or the rooms to the left and right of the structure. I did this so that I would have something to glue 1/4-inch and 1/2-inch foam down on. Now I could have made this entire structure out of nothing but foam, but the chipboard gives it a little more strength, and it also saved me some time. After creating those structures out of chipboard, it was just a matter of covering every square inch of it with 1/4-inch foam. So you can see me here, I'm just cutting it out to size and just working my way all the way around, gluing it to cover all the chipboard. After the left and right sides were covered with foam, I glued in some chipboard into what I call the pools. I may add a water effect to these later. And then I covered the top of these structures again with 1/4-inch foam just to seal it all in. I next returned with my Proxxon and I cut out the arches that go over the roof. Part of the video got corrupted, but basically it's just using a compass to draw these arcs and then cut them out. As you can see here, I used the Proxxon to cut notches in to create a stonework, and then I cut out an interior radius to hollow it out and give me those curves. I did the exact same process, as you'll see in a second, for the smaller curves that go in between the two larger sections. I created 5 of these with a compass, cut them out with a Proxxon, and then I just, again, trimmed them by hand, cut out a thin inner radius to give them a curve. I didn't want these to be solid. And then I used the larger pieces as a sort of a guide on how to cut the inner curve so that everything matched up. I took these back to the main structure and just used some glue to glue them in place. There was a small section to the front and back that I had to cut and trim to size, smaller sections just to squeeze in there, as you can see here. After that, I just added some greebles with chipboard. I added these everywhere, front of the column, side of the structure, anywhere that it looked like it needed detail. Now, I didn't add them in the back because typically on these terrain pieces, the back is facing me, but I may go back and add them in because once I was done, it kind of was noticeable that there was some detail missing from the very back. Next, I tackled the stairs, and I apologize for the blurry video here, not sure what happened. Again, I cut out this structure of the chipboard, as you can see, and I just used it as a template to cut out 4 sections. I trimmed these sections out of 1/4-inch foam and then cut 1 inch off of each starting from the back, and this allowed me to stack them up and keep the radius the same for the stairs. I black bombed the entire thing with acrylic paint, not spray paint, and I glued the stairs together, toughened them up with some aluminum, roughed them up, and then painted them black. And I used some toothpicks and glue to give them strength to attach the stairs to the main body, as you can see here. After that, I added the sides to the stairs. Cutting 1/4-inch foam, you can bend this with your hand. Just be careful. It won't break if you go slow, but you can actually give it a curve just by using your thumbs and molding it to the shape you want. I glued that onto the sides, and then I added some simple stones to the top to create a handrail. Next, I just took a piece of sponge and some gray paint, and I just sponge painted the entire thing gray. When that was done, I used some very bright white, and I hit the edges, just the very sharp edges of all the structure with the white to make those pop out and stand out, because with the gray sponge, it doesn't, everything sort of blends together, so the white really makes it pop well.
And that's it. That is how I took a picture, sorry for the dark image, and turned it into a real 3D terrain piece. It looks good. I'm very pleased with it. There are some subtle differences. I'll be adding the columns here at the corners later because I'm thinking about doing a lighting effect for that. There are some minor discrepancies. I think mine is taller and it's got the greebles on the front that give it a little more detail, and on the sides and stuff. But overall, something I would definitely be perfectly fine dropping onto the D&D tabletop or maybe even Frostgrave and using it as a structure. I hope you enjoyed this. This was episode 99. That's hard to believe. Next week will be episode 100. I probably would have hit that sooner, but I took some time off earlier this year. But just want to thank all of you for watching. I hope you enjoy my videos. If you do and you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing and you'll be notified when new videos come out. I believe I'm back to my regular schedule of Friday video releases. But I also invite you to come and join the Tabletop Engineer Facebook page, because every Wednesday, I try every Wednesday, I do a live craft, or at least a live event where I talk to you and I do something. Right now I'm painting that tower right there behind that tall one right there. I started painting that this last Wednesday. May jump to another tower. I've got 3 towers in all: a wizard tower, a dwarf tower, and an elf tower. May jump to a different one for this next Wednesday, but you never know what's going to happen on Wednesday. I sometimes do giveaways. I definitely interact and I'm able to talk to you, typing. You type and I answer over the video. But I have really enjoyed this. I continue to enjoy it. I am so glad to be back in my workshop, and I've got so many things in my mind that I want to do. No shortage of projects in the near future. So thanks again for watching my video. This is DM Jim, and I will see you next week with episode 100. Bye.